minutes for me. There's the sound, the magic sound. The floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity to present. I'm the last one, and it's my first time presenting, actually, and it's my first time being in a conference. Thank you so much for an opportunity. As he has introduced me, my study is effective education that will be relevant in the 4IR, that is Fourth Industrial Revolution area, a case study for South African secondary schools. I co-authored it with my other colleagues. The study has resulted because of the major changes that has happened in the 21st century. Those changes, especially in the technological space. You know, all the speakers that have been presenting, they've mentioned this, the world has gone digital, which is more evident in the way organization, consumers alike, they use digital gadgets to conduct the businesses. So that new era, as you know, it's called Industry 4.0, and it's also referred as Fourth Industrial Revolution. And that is characterized by the technologies that are emerging from artificial intelligence, robotics, Internet of Things, autonomous vehicles, 3D printing, material science, and so on. Okay, 4IR does not only affect the business, and it does not only affect the business, but also education too. As a result, Education 4.0 came into existence to respond to the needs of 4IR. Education 4.0 in school curriculum is the fast growing critical one of the consequences of 4IR in education sector has to do with curriculum, teaching, and learning. But in this study, I'm not going to be touching everything. I'm only going to be touching curriculum, but we need to look into the teaching. We need to look into the learning as well. That would be the next project. To keep up with the worldwide digital technology advancement, school curriculum must be changed in accordance with 4IR adoptions as soon as possible. School can play an integral role in preparing learners for this era by incorporating skills such as coding, robotics, data analysis that are needed in the 4IR curriculum. Schools must establish learning environment that allows students to practice their curiosity, problem-solving skills, abilities, inquisitiveness, as this can help learners to develop a passion for learning, allowing them to make sense in their surrounding through hands-on activities that promote teamwork and creativity. Digitalization has a major impact in South African secondary schools as also in the world, especially because in South Africa, we have the issues of inequality, exclusion, inadequate funding, absence of clear integrative national strategy by the department, and also we don't have adequate 4IR skills. The problem focused on this study is whether the current South African secondary school curriculum is relevant and effective in light of the current practices and skills that are brought by the 4IR. The study maps the challenges that I spoke about regarding the relevance of current education, as well as its effectiveness when it comes to the skills that are needed in 4IR era. The data collection of the study is ongoing, so it's going to be a mixed method because, as I said, we're looking into the curriculum, we're looking into the teaching, we're looking into the learning. We're also going to be looking into the challenges because, as I've said, yes, we talk about 4IR, but during the pandemic in South Africa, the schools that were shut down altogether because the kids did not even have gadgets. They did not even have a mere cell phone. Some, they have cell phones, but in a rural area where there's no data. So then we will look into the whole, that we can come with a nice curriculum, but where we're going to be teaching it if we've got challenges that we are facing. So that's why I'm saying this study, it's a mixed method approach because it will incorporate other areas, but specifically this one, it will only focus on qualitative approach. And what we did on the study, we used the content analysis to convert the qualitative data using Atlas STI. We took the curriculum, that exit level, we have 12 subjects that when we exit to university, we took those subjects as our metric, as what we call it, our grade 12 curriculum. We look into those subjects and then we compare those subjects to the skills that we have. So which means this is still at the beginning stage where we're just saying, okay, let's see how, what skills that our curriculum is addressing when it comes to 4IR, which ones that are still not addressed by the curriculum. The deductive coding, the codes were deducted from the existing set of 4IR skills. The code book using the 4IR is what we did is we took the 4IR skills, we put them in Atlas STI, we developed the codes, and we take then each subject, we look into the outcome of the subject and see if this outcome, is it addressing each skill? And we use the Atlas STI to produce the reports for our data analysis. So these are the skills that we looked into. The first set would be the learning and innovation skills, information media and technology skills, life and career skills. So we said for our education to be relevant in this forward era is to cover these skills. We look into them, then we coded the skills, we look into our curriculum. Okay. Why it's not?
Yeah, I had a bit. Sometimes I'll just click somewhere else and then try. And then try. Okay.
Okay.
Got it?
Okay.
Yeah.
So these were the codes that we used. We had these different codes, and this is the results that we got from, because we look into the data and analysis, analytical skills, we look into problem solving, we look into judgment, when we're looking in each. So in the curriculum, these were the most, those were the most appearing skills in those subjects. But the skills like, this is the graph, you can see that some of the schools, they were not showing at all. The results show that South African secondary school curriculum already includes some of the 4Rs. However, other skills such as curiosity, robotics, negotiating, coding have yet to be adequately integrated into the curriculum in accordance with 4IR. Although some of the skills are obvious in the curriculum, there's still a gap in the transition to 4IR relevant curriculum. SADPE, that is our education, our education board, they announced that coding and robotics will be introduced in grade R to 9 in all schools in the light of country policy commitment to ensure that its learners do not fall behind, but nothing has been said about doing the same to FET phase. Our FET phase is when the 3 years of your exiting school. Curriculum has been introduced in the foundation phase. However, as I've said, in the light of this, we don't have infrastructure. It's only certain schools that can introduce those robotics and those. So, and those schools, they're very minimum, they're not so many because we're struggling with a lot of issues that we have currently. So hence, with this study, we're still just in laying a foundation to what the curriculum covers, and we'll go to the level where we come up maybe with what can be the relevant curriculum. But even if there is that relevant curriculum, how are we going to address the issues that we have, the issues of funding, infrastructure, and all other challenges that we have, connectivity, poverty, unemployment. So those are all the things that we'll consider in the study. Thank you so much.
No, that's great. Thank you very much indeed. I'd like to open to both online and to slightly fill up our hall as well at the end there nicely for questions. Does anybody have a question from the floor, please? Yes.
Thanks for this. You identified a number of areas that, and
Yes.
some of them, like robotics, could be see, as you said, infrastructure. There were others. You had critical thinking and curiosity, for example. Those, as I understand it, unless you need something else, don't require infrastructure. They don't require instructors to have specific expertise. They just require their good pedagogy. To what degree do you think those is possible for the curriculum to support those? And how far do you think that would go in starting to
So according to what we've come up with is there is a need to revise the curriculum and look into all those skills that we can incorporate. However, we still have to go back and say, this is our nice picture of curriculum. It should look like this. It should incorporate this. But how are we addressing these other issues so that this curriculum can then be able to be relevant? Because otherwise it will end up being a study that is there, that this is a beautiful curriculum, but you can't implement it. So those ones, they don't need infrastructure as such. They just need to be embedded in the curriculum in such a way that we create learners that they're relevant to an outside world and can work in this era. Because otherwise, as I've said, we need to look into curriculum, learning, teaching. So all those coming to the level, as well as the reason we even started with secondary school, not even higher education, is when you are teaching the adults, they need to unlearn first, then relearn. But if you embed the curriculum from the younger generation, so they grow up with it, too, they're easy with technology, unlike if I have to teach, sorry ma'am, to teach you to bath. So you have to take out everything you know about bathing and start from scratch. So that's where the challenge is as well, that we want to start from a very lower level to say, let's fix our curriculum for the young age so that by the time we grow, not neglecting those ones that we need to make them unlearn, but we have to do a lot of unlearning first before we relearn.
Yeah, please do.
Yes, yes.
Absolutely.
To what degree do you see a will part of the ministry? I presume since government has to be government driven. To what degree do you see a will to make these changes?
So they already have talks about the 4R skills. So they're very adamant about them. Two, my university, it's also another potential study on the separate. It's leading my vice chancellor. He's even writing the book on 4IR, on machine learning, on, they're doing a lot of research. So they taken as University of Johannesburg is leading in 4IR. But our students, where I'm teaching, they don't have the gadgets to support that. So then they still so they pushing the government because it's very influential. So the Minister of Education, as I've said, the Minister of Education has, they've written on their that we've introduced the robotics in primary schools, but it's like in how many primary schools where this thing can be relevant because we don't have infrastructure. So the government is there because the universities are pushing, but at the same time is we have a lot of other challenges that it makes it impossible or actually difficult to implement it.
Thank you for that question. Thank you very much indeed. I think we're actually at time now for a closing speech. So I think it just it's left for me to say thank you very much, Rachel, for a fantastic speech, and a final round of applause, please.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's cool. Okay, we're all going. So yeah, so everybody's going over to. Or maybe something was going to happen. Lights have gone. Thank you very much. Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. It's weird. For Zoom, it's like, I do lots of Zoom presentation myself, and I'm talking screen design. It's like so there's a space. It's got to like really think. People are constantly like text here. So I want to see the person. I want to see that. Like one of them, she was talking, and then she got it lined up, and then she just did that and looked at her speech. So all you see is the side of her head. Yeah, it's like talk. Yeah, usually. I do all my lectures on video, so I set myself up and do standing. Music, like screen. But everything's got to be like, okay, you don't have to think. You also reverse yourself on screen as well, so you just there. That'll be interesting because I will look at a lot of these later. Yeah, it looks like. Yeah, the more engaging I get. But like, talking to you, I was there.